now, my friend, Venezuela.
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 Right.
Venezuela acá.
These are the buses heading north to the United States. 6 have already left. That's 7 that just left. This is 8.
Some are clearly going to Canada, and you can bet that Canada is a big target. United Nations willingly and knowingly does this. They hand out these rape kits knowing that women are going to get raped and killed out there.
Alexa Lavoie for Rebel News is still tackling the immigration problem. The influx of migrants illegally entering the US and Canada is increasing year after year. To be able to enter both countries illegally, migrants previously had to enter a country where visas are not required, such as Brazil, Suriname, and others. Thereafter, a long journey began to reach the border between Mexico and the US. One of the most hazardous migratory routes in the world is the Darien Gap. They have to go through there to get from Colombia to Panama, a truly dense forest without any other way to cross it than your own feet. If you are not injured, assault, rape, or even death, you are in luck. A dangerous way for a lot of migrants to achieve the American dream. Some camps were built at Darien, and on the door, we can see the American flag, the UNICEF flag, and the flag of the European Union. Migrants are helped through this forest to immigrate illegally to the United States. Michael Young been investigating this for a while. For the people who don't know him, Michael Young successfully complete Green Beret training at the age of 19. His Green Beret experience taught him the art of observing and surviving in the most dangerous environment on Earth. Combining his skill as a writer and a photographer, and with the encouragement of fellow veterans, Michael began his correspondence career by traveling to Iraq in December of 2004. That was the first step in his nearly 20-year journey, traveling the globe to report on the world event. He has traveled to more than 80 countries. Today, he is down at the Darien Gap, and he tells us what is happening there.
I'm in Panama. I'm no longer in the Darien Gap. I'm in Panama City for meetings, then I'm going back to the Darien Gap. What is the Darien Gap? The Darien Gap is a gap in the road. There's a Highway 1 that goes all the way from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego at the end of South America. And there's this one gap of about 100 kilometers, roughly 60 miles, which is it's only jungle. It's very intense jungle. This is the area where many of the migrants are passing through. And they're coming from all over the world. I've been coming here for quite a while. I've spent many months in the Darien over time on the Colombian side and on the Panamanian side. This Darien Gap is that area between Panama and Colombia, right? So basically the world can funnel through. Africa and Asia and South America can funnel through South America. They go up to Colombia, and then they start going through the Darien Gap, and then they end up in Panama. And then they go on Highway 1, that same highway, and they start heading up towards the United States. The OIM and the Red Cross are actually handing out very detailed maps on how to get to the United States, way stations along the way to get legal help, places to get money, places to care for your children, and these sorts of things. Now, at the moment, there's about 400,000 a year coming through the Darien Gap, and it's increasing dramatically, right? It's increasing week by week. Now we see a lot of Chinese, like roughly about 200 Chinese per day. And these Chinese have a very interesting story. They're all coming from different places in China. Many of the Chinese people who are coming through are mysterious, to put it mildly. They're young people, military-age males. How are they getting the passports that are fresh, to come through to leave right now? There are some family units that come through that appear to be family units, but mostly it's military-age males. Some of them look like spies. About 6 days ago, one said he was a spy. He was very tired. He was a young guy.
Dude, I'm pretty sure you're a spy. You're coming across as a spy to me,
Yes,
man.
I am a spy. I'm gonna be the president of the U.S. in the future.
We need one.
Make it a
You see who
China
our president
empire.
is now? We don't even have one now.
Bro, I don't like it. Just turn it away. I know what it is. Because you're Americans, now I like to talk to you.
What is your deal, man?
What is my deal?
You-
Just
you-
turn it off.
you
Turn
want-
it off. Turn it off before I can trust you. All right.
Who is paying for those camps that we see at the Darien Gap?
The United States is paying for a great deal of it. Now, I've been warning Americans this is coming. And I know it sounded tinfoil hat, but now it's true.
What is that nonsense of one side we heard that they are trying to stop migrants to enter into America, but in another side we heard that they are funding to cross into US?
Well, the key word that you just used was nonsense. Like, for instance, Governor Abbott. I spend a lot of time in Texas on that border and down in Mexico. I'm all over the place on these borders, right? Governor Abbott of Texas, Greg Abbott, you know, he made this big show of, you know, we're sending busfuls to Washington to show our distaste. It's all nonsense. The border's wide open. He's making these announcements how they're closing down the border in Texas. I'm physically on the border when he's saying this. I'm like, this is BS.
What did you heard so far from people who are actually arriving to cross the Darien? What is their goal? What they want to do? What they want to reach? Is it US? Is it Canada? What is their dream? What they want exactly?
Some are clearly going to Canada. You've got Americans who, you know, want to go to Canada at different times. So there are some people using Canada as a migration route to the United States and vice versa. I can't speak to every case, obviously, but other than in generalities. But clearly there are a lot of Chinese and others that are using the United States, and then they're going to leap over the border to Canada. You can bet that Canada is a big target.
Since the announcement of Trudeau saying that now he's changing the third safe country agreement, closing Roxham Road, that was the main place where migrants were crossing.
After midnight tonight, police and border officers will enforce the agreement and return irregular border crossers to the closest port of entry with the United States.
Did you see some people saying, like, I don't know what to do since the law has changed, or they don't care?
Look how big our border is. I mean, this is child's play to get across the border. It makes no difference. It's like I'm going to shut this one door and there's like 10,000 doors, right? All these different groups, like everywhere I go, I see the same group. OIM hands out rape kits, which I have. I have one here that they hand out to women and children coming across. They hand it out free to the women and children because so many of them get raped out there. Huge numbers get raped. They get raped every day. Women are constantly coming in like, oh, I just got raped, like, 3 hours ago, right? Like, for instance, I helped Ben Berkwam and Oscar Blue get out here. I helped them some months ago to go through the Darien Gap. And then they came back on their own about a month ago, and they've got on video, went viral, these women coming out and children just been raped. Oscar's holding one of the young women who just got raped. And they're like, where are they, right? And one Chinese guy is like, they put the gun to my head. The women and the children and whatnot told them where these rapists were. And the Center Front, special forces were gonna go get these guys, right?
These scumbags came over from Colombia. They're robbing the illegal migrants because there's so many of them coming here. These guys raping women, robbing them, killing, murdering women and children if they don't get what they want.
And so this is all part of the ecosystem that's created by U.S. money and European money. There's 5 major camps in Panama. They get on buses, but the major routes go through 2 major camps. Those are called San Vicente Camp. That's near Metatí, and that's in Darien Province. And then the other one is called Lajas Blancas. That's about maybe 10 miles from San Vicente Camp. Those are the 2 where you see the buses coming from. So those luxury buses then head up to another camp. You'll see that a lot of people, like a huge amount of people, like I would say, 80% would say, I didn't realize it was going to be that hard. Now, that leads to the next question. How did you not know? Because people have been doing this for years. We know they're sharing information, and yet time after time after time, every day people go, oh, I would have never done this again. And yet they continue to come, like probably 400,000, at least 400,000 this year at the current rate, right? And they're dying like crazy. But actually, a lot fewer are dying now than before. Like about 2 years ago, I would say, and I talked with Chuck Holton about this quite a lot and others, we were comparing notes, like, how many do you think die as a percentage? We just settled on maybe 10%. Now they've made the route easier. I would say it's probably less than 1%. It's probably almost certainly. Now getting raped is still some very high number, but we don't know the number.
What is the origin of people that you see the most, like where they come from?
That's always changing. It used to be Cubans, and then it was Haitians, and then Venezuelans. People from about 140 countries, even Nepal and India. 15% probably roughly are Chinese at the moment, but that percentage is clearly increasing.
Joe Biden has announced that not only is going to close those camps, but also that he's going to remove Title 42 on May 11. Title 42 give to the Border Patrol and to the government the power to stop people entering the US in order to keep disease out of the country. So this title was put in place during the pandemic and is going to be removed really soon. But we will keep an eye on what is going on down there with maybe an update with Michael Young. Stay tuned. We are still covering what is going on with the illegal immigration. Either it's in US or Canada, we want to show you the other side of the story. You don't want to miss that, and go to stoptraffickingtocanada.com. On this website, you can see our report, but you can donate generously to cover our costs for going everywhere to report on this.